Hi, I'm David with EV World News. We talk about electric vehicles, green energy, and the stock market. So I'm here today with our resident engineer, Mike Herzog. How's it going today, Mike?
Happy to be here again, David.
Great, great, great. All right, we'll see how this goes. We got some changes in communications equipment. You just never know what's going to go wrong today. All right, I want to start out today by talking about this company called Blade Air Mobility. So, Blade Air Mobility on the east coast of the U.S. And they're a public company, actually. They
Oh,
do like helicopter transportation and stuff like that. People flying from JFK, like to the
okay.
Hamptons, things like that.
Yeah.
And they actually just had the first um, commercial. They call it a CTOL, a CTOL,
Oh, okay.
but it's an
CTO.
electric aircraft. Yeah, so I'm not as familiar with that so much, or eCTOL. Anyways, it did its first demonstration flight with passengers on board. It was a 45-minute flight from JFK. Well, they landed at JFK. Not sure where exactly they started, but it was just done, and this is apparently a first in U.S. electric aviation.
Oh,
So I
wow.
thought I'd show this. Yeah, so first with passengers, but it's a little better here because I've got a video. So here's the aircraft.
Mhm.
There's some people, demonstrating they know how to put on seatbelts. But here's what the electric aircraft looks like flying. And the guy had a really long selfie stick, and he was holding it out the
You're just
plane so he
holding it
could
out
take these
there.
shots.
That's good. That's good. Yeah.
He
So for
shot
their
this on a
first in
mobile
industry,
phone.
they're like the first, what, like mobile or
Uh,
private air company or somebody to use an electric plane for taxi service kind of thing? Or like the
yeah,
first
apparently
commercial
first with
electric
actual
service?
passengers.
First with
Yeah,
actual
first with
paying passengers.
passengers.
Like, this
Yes,
is my business. I use an electric plane for it.
yeah, and a company named
Cool.
Beta makes the aircraft, and the company Blade, which is a public, like I said, is a publicly traded company. Um, they're operating it. Let's see, move along a little faster here. It shows it coming in for a landing at JFK. Apparently, they had some cameras on the wings
Mhm.
because they lost their chaser aircraft.
Did you say where it took off from?
I'm assuming it took off from the Hamptons, but I'm not
Okay.
100% on that. But it's decent size. Or that guy's a little short. That guy's a little short too. Maybe the pilot's just really tall. Maybe he's 7 feet tall. But it seems like everybody getting out of the plane is kind of ridiculously short, doesn't it?
Yeah, maybe I might have
Like,
told you
like,
this, but I
like,
I was watching a video on the Slate truck, and it was like, "That's the smallest thing I've ever." And then finally, the guy said, "Well, I mean, I am 6'10". Oh, okay. Like,
yeah.
that's it's not big, but you're a giant.
Who's the motivational speaker who's so tall? Um, oh, I can't. Oh, all of a sudden, I can't think of the guy's name. There's a motivational speaker that's really, really Tony Robbins. He's
Tony
like six
Robbins.
foot
Okay, I
nine.
was gonna say,
Yeah. Yeah. But anyways, yeah, those people seemed awfully small compared to the pilot. But anyways, yeah,
um, that's cool. Yeah,
maybe that
that's.
was the thing. They wanted some people that only weighed 100 pounds each. No,
I
but
mean,
I
honestly,
don't
like,
know.
there's something to. It looks smooth as can be, and
Yeah.
man, it's like we always talk about on here. I mean, that is the application for an electric plane. It's short range.
Yes.
Quick turnaround, going back and forth. It's a commuter route. It just makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Same with. I
Let's
mean, I
see
was I
where.
was expecting almost one of like quadcopter design kind of thing on that, but that was a legit plane taking off
Yeah.
in front of airstrips.
Yeah. It's first. You know, It was the first passenger flight of an all-electric aircraft in the U.S. using Beta Technologies' ALIA CTOL. The flight traveled from East Hampton Airport to JFK, and it's a quiet, emission-free travel. The CEO, Rob Wiesenthal, for Blade, was on the flight. He highlighted the importance of this achievement for sustainable aviation. Both companies are focused on integrating electric vertical aircraft into commercial airspace as well. And I was saying, successful flight emphasized its integrating electric vertical aircraft into its service model, enhancing its market position in sustainable aircraft. Blade wants to be a key player in the transition to quiet electric aviation. Here's a potential negative of this article: that participation of the Blade CEO in the flight may suggest a lack of independent oversight in the company's marketing efforts, potentially raising corporate governance concerns. Well, I guess what, like, something's going to happen to them. But
Well, that's what I don't.
I
guess I don't get that. Like, what are they concerned? Like, yeah, why wouldn't your CEO be on your, maiden flight? Like,
yeah,
right?
Yeah. So, anyways, that was just kind of a funny thing. I found this article on LinkedIn. Guys talking about gas cars are disappearing, and this is actually coming as data from Recurrent. So Recurrent is one of those companies that tests your batteries, so you can see how quality is. Yeah. And anyways, do I seem blurry today?
You just all over once it got pretty blurry there for a sec, and your audio glitched just a little bit, but
it seems like I go out of focus sometimes.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, like right there.
Anyways, there'll be. I'm not sure what's going on there. It turns out, okay, so let's see. There'll be fewer gas-powered cars on the road in California next year than this year, and every year after that. In Colorado and Washington State, the tipping point occurs in 2026. It turns out that when a state hits 30% new EV sales, that's the tipping point for the number of gas cars on the road starting to fall. It's a little counterintuitive that it's not 50%, but it's here's how the math works. As a nation, we have about 300 million cars on the road today. Each year, there's 60 million new cars sold, and about 12 million leave the road permanently from accidents, they get junked or whatever. Since the vast majority of these cars permanently exiting are gas powered, we actually have to for the number of gas cars to begin to decline. That should happen at the latest by 2029. On a state-by-state basis, that's nationally. Okay. On a state-by-state basis, peak gas car happens much faster. And I'm going to share this. You can just kind of guess where we fit in. Anyways, so here what we've got is it's showing 26 for Washington State, 27 for Oregon, 28 for Nevada, obviously 25 for California. We get to some other states, like over here, Kentucky's like 2035. It's one of the last ones. But here, where this big belt in here looks like the Louisiana Purchase, it's 2033 to 2035. Nebraska and Iowa, the Dakotas, Montana, Idaho, Wyoming, they're all in that.
We're a long way away.
But what I find surprising is for Texas, it's 2030. That, and that's big oil state, right? Florida is 20.
Ooh, lost you there, David.
How to not let that happen. Anyways, we've got a lot of different aspects here where, like a lot of these states on the eastern seaboard, there's some here 2026, 27, 28, 29, that they're adopted. They're about to hit peak usage of gas cars in those states. So I just thought that
it's a neat little statistic,
kind of a fascinating topic.
Yeah. I like those things because different ways to look at it. I think, are you and I out of sync audio? I think I might be. a little bit off.
Yeah, we're definitely a little out of sync. I've noticed that I'm moving slowly on the screen too. So I'm not sure why that is. So, anyway, yeah, there seems to be a delay today, which is a little different. Anyways, let's see. I want to go on and I want to talk about something with Toyota. So, Toyota has a new car called the Aygo. It's AYGO, and it's a hybrid. And it is the cleanest non plug in car on the market. So it's not a plug-in hybrid; it's just a regular straight hybrid. It doesn't get any real news here, but this is a small crossover. It's the smallest non-Korean car they make. So apparently they make a smaller car in Korea, but and it doesn't get it has a small engine, like a 1 liter engine, and it only has 81 grams of CO2 per kilometer, which makes it the lowest of all vehicles. And I went and I did some lookup to see what was more typical. And in Australia, for instance, the average light vehicle emits 181, so more than double that.
Oh wow.
SUVs, yeah. Um, let's see. Electric cars obviously are much lower, but it's saying in Europe the average is 107. So Europe has different emission standards, but this is when we're saying 107, that's all cars. That includes electrics. That's the average.
That includes
Okay,
electrics.
so this one, yeah,
Ooh.
but Europe has a high adoption rate for
Yeah,
electrics,
yeah,
right?
no, that's what I mean. Because I was gonna
So
say, like, that's those
yeah,
numbers aren't that far off. I mean, 20% off, 30,
no, it really
25% off
isn't.
something.
Yeah, whereas Australia was 181. I didn't get numbers for the United States, which I thought was interesting. Google did not give me numbers for the US. Maybe it's not measured for the US. Um, but I just thought that was kind of interesting. But it's a
Mhm.
very, very um, non emitting car. I don't think it's coming to the US, though. It's, another one for other markets, right? It seems to be kind of the nature of a lot of things we see is a lot of these vehicles just don't end up here. All
Nope.
right, let's see. So, kind of my big news for today. On June 12th, Tesla is starting Robotaxi service in Austin, Texas. It's a significant step up in their autonomous vehicle ambitions. That's 8 days from now. Um, it'll start with 10 vehicles initially, with plans to expand to thousands. It'll put Tesla in direct competition with Waymo and the autonomous ride hailing market. I'm really curious. We've talked about Waymo quite a bit
Mhm.
because Waymo operates a little bit like a small bus, right? They take routes that are a little more efficient. They're not like driving you to your house. They'll take you from one place, one commercial location to another commercial location, and so it's better than a bus ride, right? Because you get it when
Yeah,
you
yeah.
sort of want it, and it's taking you closer to your choices, right? And plus, you're not in a vehicle with 50 other people.
Mhm.
Okay, but that being said, we'll see where that ends up. Let's see. But I was kind of concerned about regulatory, but they must have something worked out to make that go. So they're trademarking the term Tesla Robotaxi. I was going to suggest they call it Tuber.
Tuber,
So yeah, if I told you I'm gonna get us a Tuber, you know
a
exactly
Tesla
what I was
Uber.
talking about,
Yeah,
wouldn't you? A
yeah,
Tesla Uber, right?
yeah, yeah. I get it.
A
Yeah, that's
Tuber.
good.
Yeah.
So they're trademarking
Yeah.
Robotaxi or
Tesla
Tesla
Robotaxi.
Robotaxi. Tesla Robotaxi.
They, they couldn't trademark Robotaxi
Just plain old
or
Robotaxi.
Cybercab. They couldn't do either of those. Yeah. So it has to be Tesla Robotaxi. And like I said, I suggest Tuber. So they're like a potato, only you get a ride. Yeah. Yeah,
Do they operate
you know, it's
anywhere
like,
else, or is
hey,
this their first commercial operation? I know they've done a lot of testing, but is this going to be like the official commercial
yeah,
launch for them?
it is. It's the official launch, but like I said, only 10 vehicles, and it's only in Austin, Texas to start with. I'm sure
Mhm.
they're doing a lot of things just to kind of see, you know, what's going on there to make sure it's a smooth deal. But I don't know. Like I said, I still think I'm going to keep calling it tuber, and I'm going to see if it catches on. Okay. So
All right, I'll
I
do it.
just
Can you put that on here, like hashtag tuber? Can we add note on
hashtag
the
tuber.
Twitter or the
Yeah.
X stuff?
I forgot to put that on the X. Yeah. I think that'll be a big hit. Yeah. What do we see? Hashtag tuber. There we go. Um, yeah, but it'd be interesting to see because I don't know how regulators are handling this, and yeah, they must have something really worked out. Say, for instance, with the state of Texas, you know, to make this happen, and hopefully it's not just a. I'm sure it's a somewhat closed environment, but you know, it says Austin, you'd think it would be the whole area, but you never know. It might be, you know, limited to the airport to just a few destinations, kind of like how Waymo started.
Yeah, I
That's kind
don't.
of what I would
That's what
expect.
I got to imagine in that space. And from a regulatory standpoint, you already have autonomous operators in places. I don't know. Does Waymo operate in Texas? I don't know if it does or not.
Yeah, they're
It
in
does.
Austin.
They're not. They are in
Yeah,
Austin already. Okay.
Waymo is rolling out a lot of places. You know, they're in several cities in California, some in Arizona, um, you know, a little bit in Texas.
Okay.
You know, I expect they're going to branch all across the country fairly quickly.
Okay.
Their issue they've had is the actual cost of their vehicles. You know, they're
Because
using
they're
fairly
based
expensive
on a
vehicles.
luxury one, right? I mean,
Yeah, they're in a Jaguar.
that's right. That's
Yeah,
right. Okay.
yeah, and but you know, let's say they got a $60,000 car, but they're putting $250,000 of electronics on top of that,
Mhm.
and you know they're using all the lidar situations, and Tesla's using cameras. So it'd be interesting to see where that ends up going. I want to talk about something about economics a little bit, and this is one of the things in the green space. You know, in energy, the obviously for green energy to work, the economics have to work out, right? And
Mhm.
so I saw this article about a company called Brookfield Renewable, and they're on the New York Stock Exchange as BEP. And today they announced that they agreed to issue 250 million Canadian dollars worth of bonds for building more solar farms.
Okay.
And so they're doing this to finance their solar farms. And what I thought was interesting is they're offering a 5.373% interest rate for and it's reset every 5 years based on a 5 year Government of Canada yield. Um, and I thought this was kind of interesting because that's really not, you know, so from them borrowing, that's cheaper than what we see like in the mortgage space. But at
Mhm.
the flip side, if you're an investor, that's a better return than you would get putting your money
Yeah.
in the bank or something like that.
100%.
It's
Yeah.
got a nice payback. It's got a nice payback. And the notes are being offered through Scotiabank, RBC, which is Royal Bank of Canada, a few others, TD Securities. There's a few others. They're mostly Canadian banking institutions. But I just thought that was kind of a interesting space. So Brookfield Renewable operates one of the world's largest publicly traded platforms for renewable power and sustainable solutions. They include hydroelectric, wind, utility scale solar, and storage facilities. So, you know, I just thought that was kind of interesting. They're part of Brookfield Renewable as part of Brookfield Asset Management that actually manages over $1 trillion. So Brookfield's a pretty big outfit to
Yeah, yeah,
start
that's a
with, but
big
that
job.
just one of their divisions. Yeah. Um, I have another topic. So George Mason University out in Virginia
Hmm.
unveils a new scale energy exploration center. So New Scale is making SMR reactors and they're putting them in clusters. Now in their facilities, they're offering up to 20 um, SMR reactor cores in each facility, which is a lot. Okay, so they're trying to use the SMR concept to be able to build off-site, truck in all of the reactors, and put them, modularly in a
Hmm.
site. And they're building 50. Their original reactor, small one, was a 50 megawatt. They just got approval for a 77 from the Nuclear Regulatory Commission this
I
week,
saw that. That was
which
this
seems
week,
like,
right?
all of a sudden,
Yeah.
yeah, it was this week. I think it was Monday. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
anyways, they're looking at this, but what they're setting up is a control center in at George Mason University for engineering and nuclear science students to go in and utilize basically a state of the art simulator that replicates a new scale SMR control room. Now, we talked about this a little bit. So this tells you right away that it's third generation nuclear, right? So
Hmm.
that's one of the things, because fourth generation doesn't have the same needs for an operator, but there probably will be. If you're going to have 20
If
reactors,
you're
might
gonna
as well
have
have
20,
somebody there working. Yeah,
somebody should probably be paying attention.
yeah, right, right. You get Homer Simpson out there running
Hmm.
that thing, and yeah, I've been come up with some real funny little slogans like SMR is the trailer park of nuclear. Yeah, well, you gotta
Yeah.
take it, have a little humor to it, right? It's modular,
Yeah.
like modular
Wow.
housing, right?
Yeah.
We're
Just
gonna we're
park
gonna
it in
tow it
and
right
park
out
it
there to
out.
the site. Yep. Um, but together, we're shaping a skilled, nuclear-ready workforce and fostering a more informed public, providing a strong foundation for the future of clean, reliable energy in Virginia and around the world. Well, they should come put a reactor here in
Yep.
Omaha. We got people that can work there.
We've got
We're-
skilled, very skilled people still around
yeah,
Ohio.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's funny. You don't think of people getting laid off in that space, right?
Yeah.
And
But it's a very, very unique skill set that they've got for sure.
yes, but yeah, I thought that was kind of a cool thing that they're doing that.
Yeah, it's been big
Obviously,
news in the nuclear space. I mean, they're saying soon. I mean, it's
mhm.
people are gunning for it. It's a great thing. I think it's a good thing. I think it's a very, very good thing. But
So in their press release, this is how NewScale describes themselves. Founded in 2007, NewScale, which trades as SMR on the New York Stock Exchange, is the industry-leading provider of proprietary and innovative advanced small modular reactor nuclear technology with a mission to help power the global energy transition by delivering safe, scalable, and reliable carbon-free energy. The company's groundbreaking SMR technology is powered by the NewScale Power Module, a small, safe, pressurized water reactor that can each generate 77 megawatts of electricity or 250 megawatts of thermal. And it can be scaled to meet consumer needs through an array of flexible configurations up to 924 megawatts of output. That would include 12 of the 77s.
yeah.
Okay. Now, once again, since it's a water reactor, we know it's third generation. So they
Mhm.
don't. Nobody brings that up anymore. I mean, anything that's being done that's not fourth gen is third gen. And for people who don't know, there's never been an accident with third generation. So it's not considered inherently safe like fourth gen, but it's close. All right, where are we at today? All right, so um, we have this interesting article that Bill dug up. It says experts find 170,000 years of energy buried. It's almost impossible to extract for this reason. And that they're saying that there's all this natural hydrogen has been found, but it's almost impossible to extract. It's like it's kind of a funny thing. I keep seeing more and more. articles come up about, hydrogen, it's free, it's there for everybody. It's like a squirrel. Just go catch the squirrel. They're free pets, right? That's kind of how hydrogen is.
I don't know what I mean. I don't know what makes it difficult to extract. I mean, if it's buried, 100 miles beneath the surface or something. But cool. I'm glad they found it. I guess that's good. Here's this great solution for you.
Okay.
No, you can't have it. It's not good for you.
So it seems to be trapped deep within the Earth's crust. It's in full supply and will no longer need to make the mistake of turning hydrogen black after this discovery. Several other factors standing in the way of easy extractions. Technical limitations seem not to be interfering with the extraction process, but rather the microscopic life forms and a few geological factors that make it virtually impossible to preserve the hydrogen. There are hydrogen-hungry microbes that thrive in these underground environments. The microorganisms tend to feed on the grass, converting it into chemical forms and reducing traces of hydrogen long before humans can tap into it. Underground microbes readily feast on hydrogen. Well, that's
So it's dirty. It's full of bugs that eat
I
it.
I guess. Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting to see. I keep saying hydrogen's a non-starter, and I don't know. I've only seen a few.
Go ahead.
I've only seen a few good use cases for hydrogen, and they kind of, they're very unique, and it's certainly not going to be what everybody's, like Toyota creates this free hydrogen engine that just power it with water, and that's not happening.
That's not happening, and it's we've talked about it before, but there's no distribution network. I mean, you have to completely rebuild the gas station network. You have to completely rebuild infrastructure to use hydrogen, which is why EVs worked out so well, because there's a plug everywhere. There's a plug in every room. That's you can have equal and ready access to electricity from just about anywhere in the world. Maybe not.
Well, no. We kind of got through my articles a little faster today than normal. And I'm definitely having some technical difficulties. So, folks, we appreciate everybody who's chimed into the show today. I'm going to go ahead and cut us off a little early. And I'll be back with Bill tomorrow, and I'll be back with Mike next week. Otherwise, folks, have a great day.